Now on the Ron Johnson Show, of course, I had to get my little brother on the show, Braylon Edwards, former first-round draft pick in 2005. I was at the draft party. I watched the draft because, one, I was hoping the Bears didn't draft him because I was with the Bears, and I didn't need him coming in, taking my spot. But Braylon, man, I want to welcome you to the show. How is it going, man?
Ron, what's going on, big bro? It's going extremely
Nothing much.
well. You know, I'm in the simulcast space too. First of all, what up, though? Got to start with the what up, though. Simulcast space too, man. So just a lot of work, man. So we were just talking about that before we got on. Just working hard, man. I think a lot of times with athletes, when we get into this space, the pundits, the people, the listeners, the naysayers, they want to knock us down already and say, hey, these guys don't know what they're talking about. They just played the game. But you guys like me, we do a lot of research so that when we come on here, man, we know what the hell we're talking about, whether it's basketball, which I heard you break down, which is amazing, your Timberwolves take on the playoffs, or whether it's hockey, whether it's baseball. We got to know what we're talking about a little bit more than other guys. So you know how that is, just working hard.
Yeah, man, appreciate you. So let's jump into this, man. So the NFC North, you know the Lions well. You're there. I see you got the D on. When you think about the NFC North, adding Coach Campbell to the Lions, supposed to change the culture, all this other stuff, and they did play hard. I'm going to give them that. They beat the Vikings at the end of a game they shouldn't have. They were always competitive. It felt like they were always in every game. But when you look at this NFC North as it stands, do you see the Lions jumping? Because we know the Packers are one, but do you see the Lions jumping ahead of the Bears or the Vikings this year?
I don't. I see the Lions playing better. One of the big things I had, one of the big issues that I had with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell is they brought a lot of guys back from that running back 3-13 in one season. And I understand you want to bring back some of the identity because they played well at times, but they didn't go after guys that can enhance a young brand. Like, it's okay to bring back young guys and have that identity and have guys that will just listen and they're happy to be on the team. But you got to get those guys that can also come in there as a Bobby Wagner, as a Tyrann Mathieu. You need a couple guys that can help expedite that process. So I was a little disappointed with that. I think they win 6 games this year, but I don't think the Green Bay are the odds-on favorite to be number one this year. I actually like the Vikings, and I'm not saying that because I'm on the show with you. I like the Vikings. Kevin O'Connell, I was in New York when he was on the team. So I've known Kevin O'Connell now for the better part of 12 years, like what he did out there in Los Angeles, and I like what he's going to be able to do with Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah.
So Kevin O'Connell, he was a quarterback there with the Jets. What kind of quarterback? Because, I haven't had a chance to sit down with Coach just yet because we're just getting into it. We just had our first show Tuesday. But I'm going to sit down with him at some point, so I want to be able to bring this up. But what kind of quarterback was Coach? What was Kevin like as a quarterback?
So the good thing about it is, one thing I like to do, in order to get reps with Darrelle Revis, in order to get the main reps with Antonio Cromartie and get those reps with those guys, you got to do scout team. And I didn't mind doing that. So playing scout team, I got a chance to get a lot of passes from Kevin. Kevin was a West Coast guy. He's laid back. He was chill. He knew the offense. He knew what it was supposed to look like. Whoever he was implementing or he was imitating that week, he knew what he was supposed to do. He knew what his job was. He knew what the assignment was. So we would just have fun. He'd say, hey, brother, I need you to do this. Sometimes we would deviate from the cards and run all type of stuff, and Darrelle would get mad and Crow would get mad. But I had a lot of fun with him. He knows the game, and he's just dialed in, man. And you see he goes out there to Los Angeles and trains under Sean McVay. So I think you guys have got a really good coach, man, like a damn good coach, also understands offense, and he understands what the job is each game.
Yeah, and when you look at the NFC North, I mean, it used to be a ground and pound when we were growing up. Barry Sanders. You look at Walter Payton. You look at the Vikings. It was. I think until 1998 maybe is when you start to see, because Robert Smith was the original running back for the Vikings, and all of a sudden 98. Yeah, you get Randy Moss. It becomes a passing game type of team. Herman Morris starts to come into his own. The Packers start to throw the ball with Brett Favre. And so it starts to open up. So when you look at the quarterback play, because that's what's most important in the NFL period, we know that. Where would you rank Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Justin Fields, and then Jared Goff?
Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league. Now, he can't get it done in the playoffs, but we're just talking about the regular season. He's typically the best quarterback in the regular season. So you got to go with A-Rod, number one. Shout out to 2005 draft class, even though I'm taking shots at him. Number two, Kirk Cousins is number 2. A lot is made. Everybody wants to blame Kirk Cousins. Everybody, it's his fault. He can't get over the hump. Sometimes that's true. Last year it wasn't the case. Offensive line destroyed Minnesota Vikings, as well as injuries. You look at Adam Thielen, who I heard you talking about before I got on. You look at Dalvin Cook, was in one game, out the next. So I think injuries on offensive line really hurt Kirk Cousins. So you got to give him more credit this year. And then Jared Goff. Jared Goff is a guy that Sean McVay and the Rams, they said out loud they didn't believe in. Said they didn't believe in. They sent him here. Brad Holmes picked up on him, and I think he's serviceable. I still have him above Justin Fields because Matt Nagy was my guy. Matt Nagy was a you-know-what type of show last year, and what he did with Andy Dalton and then bringing in Justin Fields, it was just terrible. But I think so. You have to rank them that way. Aaron to Kurt to Jared to Justin. But depending on what they do out there in Chicago this year, a lot of people are excited about that. I think Justin has a chance to go from 2 to 4 by the end of the season.
Okay. So when you're thinking about what this NFC is going to be and what the Lions have to do, what do the Lions actually need to do? I mean, is it drafting a quarterback? Like, what do they need to do to become a team that can win 9 to 10 games a year?
Everybody's talking about this Malik Willis too. Listen, I understand, that Chiefs and Bills game has everybody wanting that type of quarterback. You want a guy that's exclusive, is elite, a guy that's special, a guy that can run, a guy that can pass, a guy that can get you out of trouble like Mahomes, like Josh Allen. I don't know if Malik Willis is it. I could be wrong about that, and that's okay. But I do know that Kayvon Thibodeau is a monster out of Oregon. I like what he has. I don't like the narrative that is out there about him. You know how those narratives are. They would try to destroy individuals just because he cares about himself off the field. He cares about moving forward. I learned this from Jerome Bettis. That's the big OG. JB told me this a long time ago. He said, hey, care about the thing that's going to make you money, and that's football. And I know Kayvon Thibodeau cares about football. That's how he can do the NFT stuff. That's how he can do the crypto stuff. So I don't like that narrative. I think he's the guy you go out there and draft. You get to the quarterback, you help yourself. You got a really good offensive line. You got a decent backfield. You got a quarterback that's sustainable. You saw that in Jared Goff. I mean, he was over 100 QBR the last 4 games that he played this season. So go out and get Kayvon Thibodeau with the 2nd pick overall. And then with that 32nd pick, I like Boye Mafe. That's another Minnesota guy. Yeah. Shore that defense up. Your offensive line is sustainable. You got 3 Pro Bowls on the offensive line. You got a really good back in Swift. Jared Goff can make it happen. You went out and got DJ Chark. So you got to draft well. And when I mean draft well, Kayvon Thibodeau, not Malik Willis, and then Boye Mafe, I would like at 32. Also, no year 2 rookie mistakes. You saw Dan Campbell from taking over the offensive play calling and not knowing what he was doing essentially early in the year. You saw the 2 games early in the year. One was against you guys where they blew the game, the first one against you. Should have beat Minnesota Vikings and ended up losing 17-19 on a long field goal at the end. Did the same exact thing with the Baltimore Ravens. Should have beat them and end up giving up a 66-yard field goal to break the NFL record with Justin Tucker. So don't make any of these second-year rookie coaching mistakes. Hey, we let you get your feet wet. Now it's time for you to get better. The other thing is run the ball. Yes, it's old school. Run the ball. You have to run the ball. Just like the Vikings got to get the ball to Dalvin Cook. That's your best weapon outside of Justin Jefferson. But push the ball down the field. I'm tired of hearing about this, Jared Goff can't pass the ball down the field. He's not a deep ball thrower, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to hear this. Get the ball down the field. What the hell are you going to do with DJ Chark's 4-3 if you're not going to push the ball down the field? Nobody will be scared of you if you can't push the ball down the field and you do the same typical Lions thing. And then last, keep that same defensive energy, because what people don't realize is the Lions 19-17 against the Ravens, 19-17 against the Vikings, 30-12 they beat the Cardinals, 16-20 they lost to the Falcons, 16-14 they lost to the Bears, 16-16 they tied with the Steelers. That defense played outside of themselves last year. So keep that same energy. That's the keys for the Lions.
Yeah, and so I heard you talk about DJ Chark, and you look at pushing the ball down the field. In the NFL, we're seeing some monster contracts right now. Stephon Diggs, $124 million, 6 years. Huh? I know, yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Like I'm me and Reggie Wayne, that's the first thing Reggie Wayne said. Like, man, if Reggie Wayne, and that's why I can't wait to get him on the show so he can tell me. I'm not going to even throw the number out that he said. I'm going to let him say it. But if Reggie Wayne was in today's game, just the money he would garner, probably. I mean, when you look at his consistency. So thinking about receivers of that upper echelon, the Reggie Waynes, the Marvin Harrisons, the Terrell Owens. Nowadays, you hear about Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, so on and so forth. Who is your top 5 NFL receivers right now?
Whoo, he came straight at it. Okay. Let's see what we can do here. I think Devontae Adams has to be number one. I think one is what you do on the field, and I've talked to a bunch of DBs, and DBs all consistently say the person that they look up and don't want to go against, or the person that's the hardest to go against, is Devontae Adams. And not only is it what he does in the red zone, I mean, he's a touchdown machine, but also, man, at the line of scrimmage, you can't cover Devontae Adams. Like Devontae Adams puts you in so many places where you get afraid, and you know what it is to have the mind of a DB round where you get to the line and you're just having fun. You like, oh, I got this guy. I can go in, I can go out, I can go deep, I can go short. So you got to go Devontae Adams with the consistency of what he's done. Cooper Kupp, I mean, Triple Crown. And I know people want to make much about it was only one season. You go back and look at some of his stats. He didn't have a 1,000-yard season before that, I don't believe. But you don't get 1,900 yards, man, off nothing. You don't become a Triple Crown leader off nothing. Matthew Stafford was able to go to him because he was there. He's probably the receiver in the end of it. He's probably he is, in fact, the wide receiver in the NFL that understands the position and understands what the concepts call for, what the quarterback is looking for, what the defense is going to do. And having that knowledge, you can't take away from that. So I'm putting Cooper Kupp 2. 3, DeAndre Hopkins. I understand he got hurt last year. Look what happened when D-Hop got hurt. They were 10-2, and they faltered all through the season, lost the rest of their games, and ended up losing in the playoffs. D-Hop he's that guy, and he's pissed this year. Like, D-Hop's mad. They forgot about his name. They're talking about Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp. He's pissed, and he's been very quiet. You always got to be scared of the guy that's quiet. So D-Hop is still number 3 for me. Number 4, Justin Jefferson. 2 years in a row. I don't care about that young stuff. I care about what my 2 eyeballs tell me. My eyeballs told me that he balled out 2 years ago. And in the last 2 years, Adam Thielen has been battling injuries. Adam Thielen hasn't been the same guy. And it's not necessarily his fault. It has been injuries. But he hasn't been the same guy since Stephon Diggs has left. Doesn't matter to Justin Jefferson. He goes out there, hits the gritty, hits the touchdown dance. He gets it popping day in and night out. Justin Jefferson is dependable. And then number 5, I got to go with his college teammate, Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase, I know it's only 1 year. I know it's a rookie year. He's fearless, Ron. Like, he's fearless. He can run every route in the route book. He can run every route in the route tree. Fearless, tenacity. Look what he did in the Super Bowl. Look at that catch. Look at the last play of the game. If they don't have the best defensive player, maybe in all time, next to LT and Reggie White, he's wide open for a game-winning touchdown. Like, that tells me who he is. He's fearless. He doesn't care. He runs every route. He has hands. So I got to put him 5. And then right outside there, I got Tariq, Debo, and Mike Evans. I look at Tyreek and Debo, they're more like great players. Like, Debo's a great player. Like, you look at him, 359 yards rushing. Tariq Hill, same thing. Like, they don't strike me as just receivers. They strike me as damn good football players.
Well, yeah, you heard it first from Braylon Edwards. Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen got the snub. But it's tough to always put a guy in the
9-10. Keenan Allen got a
and it's funny, like you won't be able to see my list, but I had a similar list to that as well. But Braylon, man, I want to thank you for joining the Ron Johnson Show.